Hello there, I'm starting at the start here of my new allotment. So it's about 203 square metres and it starts where I'm standing to just past that shed down there. So a nice space indeed. Met some nice people down here, so that's always good. So today going to be doing a little tour and you can see what's going on here. I hope the sound is not too unpleasant. The wind is hitting the side of the camera here, so that might be coming out. Now, if that is indeed the case, please feel free to turn the volume down. You can put the subtitles on. That way you'll still be able to see what's happening and you can read the subtitles and my commentary will still come through. So there we are. Now at the start here, what I'm going to be doing is leaving this bit from here free. That way I'll be able to get deliveries down here of things like compost, etc., and maybe manure. When I say deliveries, a lot of this I will be bringing down myself. Now I intend to build a no-dig bed here. I bought this pile of wood chip down, so this is going to be used to make paths and also to mulch with. Now this allotment is already stocked with some very lovely things indeed, so let's have a look at some of those. There's a very lovely gooseberry bush here and also one here, so I don't know whether they are red or green gooseberries, so we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully they will be very heavy cropping and nice tasty gooseberries, because I do like them. Here are some raspberries, so I would very much imagine that these are summer fruiting raspberries. So what we have here are some dead twigs, sticks, growth, whatever you want to call them, so I will be removing those and all being well get some crop on some of these little stems here this year. I'm not expecting a large crop off of these because you can see that the size of the canes are very small, but either way raspberries in situ is always a good thing. Here we have a currant bush, so once again hopefully that'll be a nice heavy cropper, so whether that's a red currant, a black currant or a white currant, who knows. Now there's some quite interesting stuff here actually. So there's a bench there, so might be able to utilise that in like a relaxation area if one ever does indeed do that in an allotment. And there's a compost bin here. I've looked underneath all these items already and there are in fact, or is in fact, a nice bit of compost under there, so that's very good. I did a little bit of work the other day down here and I've started off a little bit of composting already in these Blackwall Dalek tumbler compost bins, or this one here, so that's already underway. Some blackberries here. Now blackberries are amazing, but here in the UK they are incredibly readily available. If one in late summer into the autumn, maybe even into winter depending on the weather, if you go out into the countryside, getting hold of blackberries is not a particularly difficult thing. So whether I leave these in here or not, who knows, but we will see on that. Either way, I've got to remove some of the growth that has already fruited, or rather the canes that have already produced fruit, because you won't get fruit on those again because blackberries, loganberries, tayberries, etc. fruit on growth from the previous season. So you've got to leave plenty of new growth. Another currant bush here, so hopefully that'll be a good cropper as well. Once again, don't know whether it's red, white or black currants. Now take a look at this. So I've been told that this is a green gauge tree, so that's lovely. Now I don't know what variety it is, but you can see it certainly is a good size. Now it is in need of a prune. You can see there's a lot of crossing branches there. Now regarding plum trees and gauge trees, the time you prune these is after the fruit has set in the late spring. You don't want to prune them at this time of year because if you do that you can risk introducing silverleaf disease, which can be fatal to the tree. Now I have heard of people pruning plum trees around late summer. Now I personally wouldn't do that, but some people say this is the right time of year. But the school of thought that I've always subscribed to, if you will, is to prune them after the fruit is set. That way it will give the tree the longest time possible for the wounds to heal and thus make it far less likely for the silverleaf disease to get in. So I've got 4 raised beds here, so they're a good size each. Now I came down here the other day and I weeded 2. I'm intending to enrich them with some compost to build up the nutrients and start to get the soil structure going. A little bit of calcified seaweed in there would be a good idea as well to really start that fungus growing. And soil it's a living thing. It's very potent and powerful, and years ago I was very much into building soil quality, but not been able to do it so much in recent years. Well, I'm hoping to be able to change all that and go back to my roots, so to speak. So 4 raised beds, 2 already weeded, 2 more to weed could be a good start to help with that. Now, composting is a very interesting thing indeed. The way that I always looked at compost, and still do, is it's like the engine room, the boiler of the allotment or the garden. That's where the nourishment can come from, and a lot of it indeed can. Now, with regards to weeds, I put them in the compost like you saw in the tumbler there. Now, when one is weeding areas and wants to get over it relatively quickly, or indeed very quickly, one can be tempted to just chuck great big dirt clods, soil clods, into a compost bin. Now, you can get away with a little bit of soil in a compost bin or a compost heap. Soil is a brown, okay, so it's a carbon. Now, you don't want too much of it in there, because what I've noticed with soil in a compost bin is it tends to just sit there, okay? It doesn't change really too much, because it's soil. At the end of the day, it already is growing matter, growing medium. So just a little bit in there. I'll give you an example. So down here's some grass, okay, growing in this raised bed. So couch grass, twitch grass, whatever you want to call it, really. Now, you can see what I've got here, and this I pulled out when I was weeding the other day. Now, this had a load of dirt attached to it, soil. So I knocked it off, you can see there. And in my opinion, that's about right to chuck in a compost bin. Not too much soil on there. You don't want this to be a great big clod and chuck that in the soil, sorry, in the compost bin, because it tends to just sit there. So there you go, that's a good ratio. Now, will I be composting this big perennial weed here? And yes, I will be. Now, it will take time, but the way you can compost things like this is what you want to do is chop it up into really small pieces, okay? And one way that I do this is get a really strong container, and you can put either like a brush cutter or a hedge trimmer in there. If you're feeling strong and vigorous and you've got enough time on you, available, you can do it with a pair of garden shears and chip it, cut it all up. You can put it through a shredder if you have one, but the way that, as I stated, I tend to do it is put it in a container in an area that's tough and put a strimmer in there, knock it up, or a brush cutter or even a hedge trimmer, and chop it up into little bits. That way you can then chuck that in your compost bin, and that can add to your growing medium in the future. You can see this blackberry here. Now, I'm probably going to take it out, or at least just confine it to this bit here. In fact, that could be a nice idea, far less destructive, wouldn't it? So maybe confine this to this bit here, and just here I am considering putting, 3 guesses, a grapevine. So a lovely grapevine trained up here with these wires already here. You can see these tree stakes here. These are nice and strong and sturdy, so they're already there, and they've got cross braces in to add further to the sturdiness. So yeah, a ready-made wire training system, absolutely lovely. Excusez-moi, for grapes. This area here, now what I'm envisaging, whatever term you want to use, what I'm considering doing is putting a tree stake in here, and then maybe some more wires across, and then another grapevine here. Maybe even another one here and a grapevine like that. So I could probably get about 3 grapevines in here. So that would be really, really lovely and nice little vineyard. So yeah, and it won't take too much to do that, because the fact that there's that lovely start there, that ready-made training system, brilliant. And a shed already in situ, so very nice indeed. Needs a new piece of roofing felt here to stop a leak, but that's no big deal. And you can see, it's chipboard, so that's got to be done relatively quickly, or else that roof will perish and the leak will get far, far worse. So there we are. So yes, positive about that as well. A shed already here. So loads of ideas I've got for this allotment space. I'm incredibly grateful to have gotten it, so there we are. Now, is there anything you people would like me to put down here to grow whatever, whether it be permaculture or annual culture, whatever? Comment down below, because at the end of the day I love to grow things that people want to see me grow. So comments, questions, ideas, whatever, post them in the comments section. Now, with regards to infrastructure, I'm definitely considering a polytunnel down here, a good composting system, so I'll probably end up building a lot of that out of pallets, but once again, the old ton bag composting system is a brilliant one that I used to do years ago, and yeah, loads to do. So there we are. Once again, as usual, If you like Dan's work, please feel free to like, share and subscribe. And if you would like to check me out on Dan_Home Gardens on Instagram, you're free to do that as well. Thank you very much for viewing. See you next time.